what is the difference between intuition and fear? And I think this is a very important question that we should learn to answer, because both of these things tend to come up at the same time, right before we're about to make a meaningful decision, leaving a job or taking the relationship to the next step, or falling in love, starting the business, asking for a raise. There's so many moments that trigger fear and intuition within us. So my name is Ellie Francine, and I talk all things about identity, relationships, and self-love. If you like that kind of stuff, hit the subscribe button. Let's get into it. So one question that I get often from my clients is, what is the difference between intuition and fear? My body is telling me something right before I'm about to make that decision, and I don't know, I'm on the bridge. What is the right way to go? And I get it because I've been there. So the difference between intuition and fear, intuition is guiding you towards alignment, versus fear is there to protect you. Fear is not a bad thing. Let me clear that up first. Fear is not a bad thing. And if anything, I think we should lean into our fears and understand why they're coming up, because they're there for a reason, and they're there to protect you, and they're protecting something about you that feels threatened. So I think if you're into that kind of stuff with self-discovery and understanding yourself and your patterns at a deeper level, it's important to investigate why those fears are coming up in those particular moments. Fear has been around since thousands and thousands of years. Our ancestors survived off fear, whether fear protect them from wild animals or threatening weather conditions or any threatening situation that put them into survival mode. They were afraid of, they would protect themselves from. It kept them alive. So fear is important. So if you look at us today, the things that trigger the most fear in us today is probably things like posting the video online, being seen, expressing yourself. Maybe it's asking for a raise at work, or leaving the job, taking the relationship to the next step. Those are the things that bring up fears in us nowadays. It's not really a life-threatening situation, but your body, your nervous system still tends to react as if it was. And so it's important to question why those fears are coming up in those moments. Fear is loud. It's in your face. It's there to protect you. So it will run through a list of all the possible outcomes to protect you from things like rejection, abandonment, failure. And we all know that in order to reach success in anything, in business, in relationships, in whatever you want in your life, in order to reach success, we must not let the fear of failure stop us. So same thing with rejection, same thing with abandonment and all these things. We should be able to express our needs even though there's fears, because that's being vulnerable, right? Fears come up with vulnerability, and not let it stop us from where we want to go or getting what we think we deserve. Sometimes we interpret fear as a sign that we shouldn't move forward, but it's not always that fear is saying, don't do this. Sometimes it's just telling you that, hey, what you're about to do matters and it's important to you. Think about it. Some of the most important, meaningful moments in your life, like falling in love, leaving home, moving, starting a new chapter. Every meaningful experience comes with fear. And it's not because those experiences are wrong, but because they require you to step into the unknown. And that's where your intuition kicks in. Your intuition is there to guide you through the unknown, through that quantum field of infinite possibilities. If you listen to Joe Dispenza, I'm a huge fan. And that is the point of where we can actually start creating the life that we truly want. But it takes getting over that fear that comes up to protect us, because sometimes fear is there to protect these old versions of yourself. Maybe it's a childhood wound that comes up, or maybe it's an old version of yourself that you had to play this role in order to survive in that moment in time, but you have outgrown now. And so you're on the line, you're in between whether I should go back to my old ways or I can step into the unknown and take the risk, which is what your intuition may be telling you, and see what happens. Because in reality, you're not in true danger. And most likely, if you're in a survival situation, when I'm a world traveler, I've traveled many countries alone as a female, so I know the feeling of danger. And when you're in survival, that's a different story, that's another conversation. But I'm talking about daily life. Know the difference and practice quieting the mind in those moments before you make that big decision, that big leap, because know that fear is always going to be louder. It's going to run through every possible outcome to try to protect you from stepping into the unknown and taking the risk. And sometimes the risk is necessary in order to get to where you want to go. So if you want to hear more on this kind of stuff, hit the subscribe button. Love to see this community grow.